Nootropics seem to be the current trend in the health and wellness space at the moment. So many products are using this word. I've seen it plastered on a few drinks and also plenty of supplements. And it kind of fits in with this overall longevity and productivity trend that's been going on for a while now. People want to live longer. That's not new. And with nootropics, the focus moves to your brain. So these products will claim to enhance your cognitive function. Think better memory, better creativity, better focus, being able to be more alert and therefore more productive. And all of this sounds pretty great considering how fast-paced the world has become. But if you are sitting there thinking, what the hell is a nootropic? Then you've come to the right place. Because today we're going to talk about what nootropics are, how they work, and we will also look into some research to see if they can actually live up to these claims that they are making. So, let's go. So the word nootropic has Greek origins. I believe it translates into mind turning. And today we use the word nootropic for a group of substances that are essentially cognitive enhancers. People use these to, like I said, improve their memory, their alertness, their concentration. And the important thing to know is that there is a big list of nootropics. There are a lot of them out there, but they can be placed into one of three categories. So we have the natural nootropics. These are compounds that are found in plants, food, herbs, which have been shown to support brain health and cognition. Now, some examples of these are caffeine, which is probably the most well-known and commonly used nootropic, but we also have others like L-theanine and ginkgo biloba, which belong to this group of natural nootropics. There's also a few others which you should be seeing popping up on the screen right now. And then we have the synthetic nootropics. Now, these are man-made compounds. They were designed and created to enhance cognitive function. So I'm actually not going to be spending too much time on these, and that's because it's the more natural nootropics that you will find in the health products and the supplements that I mentioned earlier. But just for your own information, here is a list of the synthetic nootropics for you. Now, within these synthetic nootropics, we also have the third group, which are your prescription nootropics. Now, as the name suggests, you will need a prescription from a doctor to be able to access these. And the most common prescription nootropics are actually ADHD medications like Ritalin, which the real medicine name is methylphenidate. Again, I will not be spending or focusing too much time on the prescription nootropics because you're not going to run into these in a supplement shop or just out and about, hopefully. So how do nootropics work? Well, as we now know, there's quite a few of them and they're not all going to work in exactly the same way, but there are four main mechanisms that they can work by. So the first is actually increasing blood flow to your brain. Why is this good? Well, blood contains oxygen and also nutrients that your brain requires to function properly. So if you have more blood flow to your brain, then you get more oxygen, more nutrients going to your brain cells, and this overall will help with your brain function and your alertness. Now, an example of a nootropic that does this is actually ginkgo biloba. One of the things that ginkgo biloba does is dilate or expand your blood vessels, which can enhance blood circulation to a lot of areas in your body, but particularly in your brain to give these effects that I'm talking about. Now, another thing that nootropics do is actually impact the level of neurotransmitters in your brain. Now, we can't talk about cognitive function without talking about neurotransmitters. And these are the chemical messengers inside your brain that are responsible for communication between your nerve cells. They are very important for brain function, but they also impact on your mood as well. So some of these nootropics, they can increase the levels of your neurotransmitters like dopamine, serotonin, acetylcholine, and also norepinephrine. Now, not all neurotransmitters will give you the same effect. For example, serotonin, which is one you may have already heard of, is very much linked to your mood, your emotions, and also sleep. So if you have a nootropic that increases the serotonin levels, you may have improved mood, you may sleep better. But on the other hand, if you have a nootropic that increases your dopamine levels, so one of these would be tyrosine, then you may instead feel more focus. Now, I could spend hours and hours talking about neurotransmitters. There is too much to know about them, but this is just a simplified version for the purpose of this video. I just want to point out that part of the reason that nootropics help with cognitive function and the reason they're known as cognitive enhancers is because they can impact on your neurotransmitter levels in your brain. The third thing that nootropics can do is protect your brain cells. So some of these nootropics have antioxidant effects, which protect cells in general, but more specifically, they protect your brain cells from damage that are caused by free radicals. Now, free radicals, I have mentioned them a few times on this channel already, but they are created naturally in your body as a result of all the processes and reactions that are needed to keep you alive. Unfortunately, they just happen. But if you have antioxidants, you can counter their effects and protect your cells from the damage that they can cause. So nootropics, such as, again, ginkgo biloba, may be able to protect brain cells in this way, and less damage to brain cells means that you have a functioning brain for a longer amount of time, which is always a good thing. And finally, nootropics may also promote something called synaptic plasticity. Now, this is just a fancy way of saying that they could help your brain form new connections between nerve cells. This is very, very important for learning and memory, and it's one of the key goals for these nootropics, because if you're claiming to improve memory formation, learning, and overall brain adaptability, then helping the brain make new connections is going to be how to get there. But let's move on now and talk about the research for a bit. Again, I will be focusing more on the natural nootropics, and that is because prescription nootropics will have more evidence behind them already. They need to be able to prove a certain level of safety and effectiveness so that they can be approved by countries before they're even able to be prescribed in the first place. So natural compounds, the natural nootropics, they tend to be less regulated. So being able to look into research and see how safe or effective these are is quite important when you're out and about making decisions for yourself. And this is a bit of a new area, so you'll find that research is currently ongoing and new things are going to continue to come out as years go by, especially most certainly after this video even comes out. So if you remember earlier in the video, I put up a list of some of the natural nootropics, and it's safe to say there's a fair amount of them out there. Now, some of these are supported by some decent research and others have less evidence behind them. So at the moment, you need to navigate these carefully because it's a bit of a mixed bag with the research. But I'll give a few examples here. So let's start with caffeine. This is easily the most researched natural nootropic, and it's definitely the most commonly used. There is plenty of research out there to show that caffeine improves alertness, attention, and reaction times. We also have a pretty good idea of what is considered a safe dose for most people, but of course, if you have too much caffeine, you can get unpleasant side effects like anxiety, insomnia, and increased heart rate. But the main thing here is that we know a lot about caffeine, and unfortunately the same cannot be said for a lot of the other nootropics. But there do happen to be a few more out there that have some good research behind them. And the first one I'll be talking about is L-theanine. Now, I know Andrew Huberman has actually mentioned this one a few times on his podcast, The Huberman Lab. Now, this one is actually very interesting because it's also been said to help with symptoms of ADHD. And when combined with caffeine, L-theanine seems to have good effects in terms of improving focus and attention. Now, another natural nootropic that has quite a decent amount of research behind it is ginkgo biloba. And I've already mentioned that one a few times in this video. Because it can help improve blood flow to your brain, but researchers found that it could improve memory and cognitive function. This one actually tends to be a popular nootropic for older adults because it's often used to help with age-related cognitive decline. But unfortunately, there isn't too much evidence out there to support whether it's effective for doing that or not. Now, ashwagandha, I've done a couple videos of this in the past. It is mainly used for stress relief and sleep improvement, and while there is good evidence out there about ashwagandha, it's only really in these two areas for stress and sleep. So there's lots of other claims about ashwagandha, like increasing testosterone and things like that. Unless you're using it for stress or sleep improvement, the evidence isn't really there to support those other claims. So these are just a few of the natural nootropics out there that have a bit more evidence behind them, and you can feel a little bit more confident if you've picked up a product and you're seeing some of these on the ingredients list. But if they're focusing on some of the less well-known ones, then you may want to have some alarm bells going off. But don't worry, there will be more videos coming out to really be able to help you out with this. So what I'm trying to say is be careful out there. There will be a few products that claim to boost brain power, and they may also use the word nootropic. But if you actually know which ones have some decent research behind them, and also what doses they need to be in to be effective, then that'll help you navigate this all a little bit better. So keep an eye out, because I will be doing a few videos that look at a lot of these natural nootropics in a bit more detail, so that we can all be a little bit more informed when looking at the ingredients lists of all these new products that keep coming out. I hope this video was helpful. I hope it was a good introduction to nootropics for you. There's much more to come, so I will see you in the next video, and until then, keep playing the long game.